It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you, and welcome to the Science Bowl, the science quiz program here in the Prince George's Schools, where we emphasize science literacy, and we invite you to play along with us today and see if you can raise your own science IQs a few points. This is the start of our 36th year. We're starting out with middle schools, and like last year, we're on Zoom because of the pandemic. We've made a few adjustments. Our game normally has students here in the studio, but they are in their schools competing. There are no buzzers out there, but we use the same categories that we normally use. Those are the 6, the traditional ones we've had for these 30 plus years. Green things, zoo parade, body systems, let's get physical science potpourri, and Dateline Science. In this game, we have 18 questions for each of our 2 teams. Questions are different, but of equal difficulty. There's a 5, a 15, and a 25-point question in each of the categories, and each team starts out with 50 points just for showing up and being as good as they do. All right, we're going to get started here. Let's introduce our first team, and they hail from Robert Goddard Middle School. And as I say your name, wave to everybody at home. Hey, Teddy. Teddy's with us today. Andrea is here. And Sylvie. And Robert Goddard is the defending middle school champion. And if you see the posters throughout the school system, their picture, the Robert Goddard team, is featured there. So they are a force to be reckoned with, and they will be playing first today. So if you are ready, we are going to get started here with the Green Things questions. Here we go. Green Things, Robert Goddard, for 5 points. Because of the absence of these green things in fields of corn and wheat, the agricultural areas of Maryland on the eastern shore did not experience the recent eruption of 17-year cicadas. What green things were missing on the farms that made the cicadas no-shows?
You two have any ideas?
Trees?
You think it's trees?
No. Not really. Have an idea.
Teddy, we need an answer from you. Since you're the captain there, do you want to give me an answer?
Can we think of any other better answer than trees?
Maybe some type of vegetable.
Because we're not going to lose points for answering.
Okay,
so
time is up.
We'll try.
Time is up, guys. The correct answer was indeed trees, because as you know, the cicadas, they go into the ground and they feed off tree roots, and if you have cornfields and wheat fields, there are trees that are missing there. So trees was the correct answer. Let's get the 15-point question right. Let's go. You're going to get it. In the Little Mermaid movie, Sebastian the Crab tries to keep Ariel from going onto land by singing that this green thing, another name for the grasses on the bottom of the ocean, is always greener in somebody else's lake.
Seaweed.
Seaweed. We
Teddy?
all agree on seaweed.
Seaweed it is, absolutely right. Good answer. Good, now you're on a roll. For 25 points, I have a visual for you. Look at this picture, Robert Goddard. All right, you will recognize stalks of celery there. You know, while chitin, C-H-I-T-I-N, is one of the most abundant materials on Earth, making up the shells of arthropods like insects and crabs. This other C-initialed substance is even more abundant, making up the cell walls in all of the world's plants, like the celery that you see here.
I think it's cellulose. I don't know how to say it.
Cellulose?
What you thinking, Teddy?
Well, I guess we'll go with Cellulose.
Say that again for me, please.
Cellulose?
Cellulose. Are you saying cellulose?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're attempting to.
All right, that's a tough word to say. That is correct. We're going to give you those 25 points. Good job. Let's go to the zoo. Zoo prayed for 5 points. Certain characteristics are associated with certain animals, like slyness in foxes. Sly as a fox. Slippery as an eel. Blind as a bat. And happy is one of these bivalves that lives in the ocean. As happy as a what?
I was thinking dolphin.
Me too.
As happy as a dolphin?
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Wait.
but
Oh,
dolphins
a
are-
clam.
As happy as a clam.
Yeah.
Happy as a clam. That's it. Good. A bivalve. I think Sylvie came through for us that time. Good. Good assist. Let's go to the 15-point question in the zoo. The top dog, or numero uno in an animal population, is known as what male, named for the first letter in the Greek alphabet?
Alpha. Okay, we all agree on alpha.
It is alpha, absolutely right. That's where the word alphabet comes from, and that's also, you know, what they used to name the first hurricane of the season after we exhausted all of the regular names. No more. Now they're going to go a different list of different regular names. 25 points. Nice job there on zoo. Zoo for 25. Let's talk about some amazing bees. It's known that bees can dance to communicate where the best flowers are to the rest of the hive. They're also thought to be able to add and subtract. Get that. They even have a natural GPS system to find their way home, even at night. And we also know that bees can react to this P, as in Paul, this P initialed kind of light.
Photon? I think it's photon. Okay,
hearing-
we'll go with photon.
I'm hearing photon. That's a good guess, guys. Correct answer is polarized light. Polarized was the P I was looking for. You know, if you put on sunglasses, it'll polarize the light when you look through the windshield of a car sometimes. Bees respond to that. Let's go to the body systems. Here are your last 3 questions before we go to our first break. Body systems for 5 points. The name of these teeth that let you tear your food is the same name that describes animals like wolves and dogs.
Canine.
Canine.
Well, canines.
Canine, you got them, the canine teeth. That's a homonym, yep. Dogs are canines, wolves are canines, and you have those canine teeth as well. Good answer. 15 points in body systems. The J&J COVID vaccine from Johnson & Johnson was withdrawn from use temporarily when some women getting the shot developed these C initial blockages in key blood vessels. That is C as in cat. C initial blockages in key blood vessels.
Yes.
Clots?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, clots.
Clots it is. Good. I like your teamwork there, guys. Last question before we go to the break. 25 points in body systems. This L initialed body system, a part of the immune system, rhymes with a stage in an insect's metamorphosis in which the insect looks identical to but smaller than the eventual adult.
So the
There's eggs and then larvae.
And pupa and nymphs are the ones. Zero pupa and
so what if it rhymes with an L, so
No, the L initialed body system rhymes with the stage of an insect in which the insect looks identical to but smaller than the eventual adult? So I need the name of the body system. But if you know the insect stage, it will help you.
Do we know the insect stage?
I think it's either nymph or pupa. So, which one?
Lymph nodes?
Lymph nodes it is, absolutely right. The L initial body system rhymes with nymph, which is the insect metamorphic stage. Nicely done, Goddard. So you're ending up this first round with 155 points. Good job. And it is now time to meet the team from Thomas Johnson Middle School. And would you please say hello to Rahel? Rahel, would you wave to everybody at home? Nice to have you here. Joining Rahel is Charlene. Hey, Charlene. She's got that nice wave. We can even see her smiling behind her mask. And we also have Melissa. Hey, Melissa, could you wave to everybody? She's also part of the fearsome threesome here from Thomas Johnson. All right, if you are all ready, let's begin our game, and we start with our Green Things questions. Here's your Green Things question for 5 points, Thomas Johnson. Because this green vegetable, which is used in making pickles, is soothing on a hot day. It's the subject of the phrase, cool as a what?
Cucumber?
Yeah, you're as cool as a cucumber. Yeah, even if you put a cucumber against your eyes, it's just naturally cool. Good answer, good start. 15 points in Green Things. The so-called Great African Sea Forest, which produces over 80% of the world's oxygen, is made up of this kind of algae known for growing to great heights. In fact, it's even described as a forest. Name that
Kelp?
kind of algae.
Kelp?
It is kelp. You got it. 2 for 2. 25 points in Green Things. You know, the cicadas were here earlier this year. They left behind brown leaves on trees and dead branch ends. That's where the female cicadas laid their eggs. But it didn't mean the tree was dying, merely that it was losing a small part of the branches in a process with this P, as in Paul, this P initial name, often done by gardeners to bushes to improve their health and appearance. What is that P initial name if you sculpt a bush to improve its appearance or its health? Any ideas out there? Maybe if you were gardeners, maybe you've heard of this word, pruning. If you prune something, you take part of that bush off. Rahel is shaking head. Now, I've not heard of pruning before. All right, let's go to the zoo for 5 points. I have a picture for you. All right, Thomas Johnson, look at this picture. What you're about to see is not a real bird. In mythology, this gigantic bird was known as the roc. R-O-C. It was supposed to be so strong and so big that it was able to pick up and carry off these pachyderms. What kind of animals could they supposedly pick up? Pachyderms are elephants. Elephants. They were so big, they were thought to be able to pick up an elephant. Pachyderm means thick skins, just like elephants have thick skins. Even a rhinoceros is considered a pachyderm, derm meaning skin and pachy meaning thick. Let's get the 15-point question. 2-part answer. Listen up, Thomas Johnson. There are ants called leaf cutter ants. They go through the forest, and with their jaws, they cut leaves and they take them back to their nest. They don't eat them, but they put them underground, and a fungus grows on the leaves, and it produces a substance that the ants eat. They're gardeners. They're so good, these ants, at slicing open leaves because they have jaws that are as sharp as a steak knife. Why are they so sharp? Because they have tiny bits of 2 metals in their mouth. The metals have the chemical symbols Zn and Mg. Capital Z, small n, capital M, small g. For 15 points, tell me the name of those 2 metals.
zinc, and magnesium.
You got it. Excellent, excellent. That's what I wanted to hear. 25 points in the zoo. Keep it up. While many predators have claws, like birds of prey, like eagles and hawks, others have these T-initialed extensions.
Talons.
Talons is right for 25 points. Boy, you got those points. Excellent work. You started out with 50 points. You're adding to that tally as we go along. Here, stay with me. We got 3 more questions. Let's go to the body systems for 5 points. You know, during the pandemic, shaking hands, too risky. So we greet friends by bumping elbows or exchanging these knuckle sandwiches.
Fist bumps.
Fist bumps, that's right, you fist bump. Good answer. For 15 points. You know, there are people who are afraid to go to doctors. They call it the white coat syndrome. Whenever someone comes in a room with a white coat, they panic. They often find, these people who are afraid of doctors, that when the doctor comes in, this vital sign shoots up, which the doctor can see when he puts a cuff around their upper arm. What is he or she measuring?
Heart rate. No. Blood pressure.
Give me another term. Blood pressure, absolutely right. That's what I want to hear. Good answer. Last question for you in the first round, 25 points in body systems, is a multiple choice question. Listen carefully. People who test positive for COVID-19 but show no outward signs of the disease are described as being, here are your 3 choices: asynchronous, abiotic, or asymptomatic.
Asymptomatic.
You got it for 25 points. Great round. All right, 155 points. You're sitting pretty. We'll bring you back in just a couple minutes. Good work. It is now time to welcome back the team from Robert Goddard. We've got a great game going. It's a tie score, 155 all. We're adding 2 new players to the Goddard team, some substitutions. Before we start asking the last of the 9 questions, let's find out a little bit about our players. Teddy, tell me a little bit about Science Bowl. And Teddy, have you been on the show before?
I have not been on the show before.
Well, you're making a great first impression here, young man. Tell me why you wanted to do this.
Well, I wasn't completely sure if I was going to do this, but I was told just go for it and see how it goes.
I'm really glad you did. And sometimes you got to take chances in life, and this was a reasonable challenge, and not everybody is courageous enough to do it, and we appreciate that you are here today. You're doing a great job. What do you want to do someday, young man? Have you thought about that?
I'm not sure, but I am interested in computer science, so I might go into that field. I may not.
Well, something tells me you're very well disciplined. Whatever you choose, you're going to be successful at. Keep up your good work in the second half. Let's welcome Sam to the program. Sam, good to have you here. Tell us the Sam story. What brings you to us today? Unmute yourself, Sam, so we can hear you. Thank you. Sam, you still there?
Yeah, hold on, Dave. Sam, double check when you go that your microphone is selected as your audio source.
Do you hear me
now?
now?
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, hold on for a second. Give me a couple seconds, Dave, and I want to get you back up, and then you're going to ask him the question again.
Wonderful.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. And we're joined today also by Sam. And Sam, let me ask you the same question I was asking Teddy. You know, what inspired you to come on to Science Bowl? Why are you here?
I would say mostly Teddy was doing it and I wanted to be with him and I just wanted to. I don't know. It seemed fun.
Well, we hope you're having fun today. And some of these questions, people tell me who watch the show, adults, that they're so impressed with how well students do on the program. So you're, I'm sure you're going to acquit yourself really well here. What do you do in your spare time, Sam?
I sometimes launch rockets and I usually play Minecraft.
Wow, launching rockets, that's pretty cool. I know at the Goddard Space Flight Center, they make a big show of that at least once a year, at least pre-pandemic times. What do you want to do when you get older, Sam?
I might want to work in the rocket industry because I love rockets and they've always been so interesting to me.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of rockets going up. You know, you've got Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson and all. Maybe one of these days you'll be up there as well. Have a good game. Lydia, nice to have you with us today. You're welcome. Lydia, nice to have you here. Tell us the Lydia story. Why are you with us today?
I am here because I really like to do science. Also, I just thought it'd be really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, liking science is not critical, but it helps. And if you're the kind of youngster who is curious about the world and there's so much science around us, we're living through a giant science experiment with this pandemic. Hypotheses and results, and this is how STEM really works. So nice to have you here today. What do you want to do someday?
I either want to be a professional ballet dancer or I want to become a herpetologist.
Wow, those are some very specific goals. Good luck and keep to your dreams. All right, Lydia, have a good game. It's time now to go to the Let's Get Physical section for 5 points. So if you're ready, Robert Goddard, here's your first question, and it is a visual question. Please have a look. We're going to show you Turkey's Sea of Marmara. And that substance you see all over the water has been called by the Turks sea snot. Awful term. The slimy substance is actually masses of phytoplankton that grew rapidly because of the excess of 2 chemical elements in the pollution flowing into the lake. The chemical symbols of the pollutants are N and P. Identify those 2 chemicals for me.
Okay, so I think it's nitrogen and phosphorus coming from like farm pollution. What do you think? All of you?
All right.
Yeah.
So Teddy,
Okay, we all agree.
I'll agree. Nitrogen and phosphorus. Good answer. Got yourself 5 points. Good start. Let's go to 15 points in Let's Get Physical. You know, in the wintertime, if it's icy on the sidewalk, you go out and you can spread salt because the ice will start to melt because you've lowered the freezing point. The freezing point is normally what temperature on either scale?
I think it's 30 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 Celsius.
Yeah.
So 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius.
Absolutely. You gave them both to me, and they were both correct. Absolutely right. Let's go to 25 points. You remember the big ocean liner, the cargo ship that was stuck in the Suez Canal some months ago that wouldn't budge? Well, the strength of the underwater vacuum that they used to help dig out that large cargo ship that was stuck in the canal, the strength of that vacuum was measured in horsepower. But the strength of the spotlight that they shined on the ship as they sought to free it was measured in this kind of power, named for one of these that you light when the power goes off in your house.
I think it's a generator.
Wait, so what's it in?
Lumens.
And
Is it a generator?
The spotlight, the strength of the spotlight that they were shining on the ship was not measured in horsepower, but in this kind of power. It is named for one of these that you light when the power goes off in your house.
I think it's
Candle?
generator, right? 'Cause or actually it could be a candle because you light it. Do we all agree with candle?
What about Kelvin?
That's a temperature measurement.
Okay, Teddy, we need an answer from you.
What about a generator?
Correct answer, and you had bandied it about, it's candle power. Candle power is how you measure the power of those lights. Let's go to potpourri for 5 points. People who isolated themselves in bubbles during the pandemic were using this Q-initialed procedure to keep away from spreading germs.
I think it's quarantine.
Quarantine?
Quarantine is right. Good. Potpourri for 15 points. This is an interesting story. Cowbirds, which we can see around here in Maryland, are known as parasitic brooders because they lay their eggs in other birds' nests. They might have adopted this deadbeat parent routine because they once followed the herds of these bovines across the plains of Middle America and thus didn't have time to spend in one place to rear a family. Name those bovines.
Bison, right?
Yeah.
It is the
Bison?
bison. Absolutely right. Those herds of bison or buffalo. Excellent work. For 25 points in potpourri. Another name for parthenogenesis, practiced by animals that can make exact copies of themselves, is this.
What is about cloning?
Okay, cloning.
It is cloning. That's what I want to hear. Perfect. 3 more questions for you in the game. Dateline. Let's go there for 5 points. You might have heard this on the news and cheered. There's new evidence that kids like you produce an enzyme in your spit that makes these smelly green vegetables that look like small trees taste especially nasty.
Is it broccoli?
Broccoli.
It is broccoli. How many of you like broccoli? Okay. Good. Good for you. Let's go to 15 points in Dateline. The Ingenuity helicopter that flew on Mars, the first ever such flight on another planet or moon, carried with it a piece of cloth from one of the seats from the Kitty Hawk Flyer. The plane making the first ever successful flight here on Earth, flown by what brothers?
The Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur. Absolutely right. Last question of the game is a 25-pointer in Dateline. A new drug, the first one ever that promises to bring some relief to Alzheimer's victims, works by reducing these formations in the brain that have the same name as the slimy substance that forms on your teeth and an award that you can hang on your wall.
Plaque. I think it's plaque.
Plaque.
Plaque it is for 25 points. Great work there, Robert Goddard. Terrific teamwork. 265 is your final score. We'll see if that's enough to win the game. See you in a few moments. It's now time to welcome back the Thomas Johnson team for their second 9 questions. Let's find out a little bit about our players here. Rahel is our captain, and Rahel, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do in your spare time if you're not studying? Because obviously you study a lot.
I like to draw.
Very nice, very nice. A creative outlet. And why did you want to be on the Science Bowl?
Well, I heard it would help me with college credits, and my mom told me it was good to do extracurricular activities, and I like science.
Well, those are all great reasons, and Mom knows what she's talking about. You know, the more experience you have, the more exposure you have to different activities like this, the more it helps you kind of hone in on what you really want to do with your life someday. And I'm sure you've thought about that. Have you thought about a career?
Yeah, I want to be an engineer, but I don't want to stick to one specific type. I want to be a robotics engineer, but I also want to be a software engineer. I want to work with laptops and make my own things.
Wow, you've got some really definite goals, and I like your enthusiasm and the fact that you can draw. I mean, that's going to feed in nicely with your engineering ambitions. Have a good second half here. You're playing a good game. Let's talk to your teammates here. Let's talk to Charlene. Hey, Charlene. Good to have you on the show today. Hey. And you look like you're having a good time. Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. And you get a break from regular school. And I wish I could have you here in the studio, but the pandemic just doesn't let us do that yet. Maybe in the not too distant future. Why'd you want to do this today?
Well, to be honest with you, I just did it for the adrenaline.
For the adrenaline. That's so cool. You know, adrenaline gets us through so many things, you know? It's like when you hear that a car has slipped off a jack and fallen on somebody, and you hear that a grandmother runs out and picks up the car, you know, gets superhuman strength. You don't need that strength here today, but it does help you get through stressful situations. What do you want to do someday with your life?
Well, I want to be a Supreme Court justice.
Wow, that would be tremendous. And, you know, that's a lifetime appointment. And that's a job for life, and that's a good thing because then you don't have to worry about being elected or reappointed. And so maybe you be a lawyer first. A lot of times they're lawyers first. Be a lawyer first and work your way up through the lower courts, and then hope that there's a president in office who recognizes your talents. Have a good second half here. Let's talk to your other teammate, Melissa. Hey, Melissa.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good.
I'm glad you're here today. And you have, looks like you have the library almost all to yourself. Is that right?
No.
No, there are other people in there. Tell me why you wanted to play our game.
I wanted to play the game because it seemed like a fun and interesting challenge to try.
Yeah, and you always have to test yourself. Like when you play tennis, you should always play against someone who's a little better than you. So it's a reason to make you try harder. You know, if it's too easy, you know, you don't really advance. So I'm glad you're here today. I'll ask you what I asked your teammates. What do you want to do with your life someday?
I might want to be a veterinarian or a marine biologist.
Wow. Do you have any pets at home, Melissa?
No, but I'm getting a dog soon.
Oh, lucky you, yeah. And if you have a puppy, that puppy is gonna, you know, just adore you, and you are gonna be his or her world. You're gonna have a great time with that. Veterinary medicine, a great aspiration. All right, and we're down time now for your last 9 questions, and we're gonna start with the Let's Get Physical 5-pointer. So if you're ready, here we go. One supposed treatment for COVID-19, a treatment that's unproven and very dangerous to your health, so don't do it, is drinking H2O2, a chemical that you often find in your medicine cabinet. It's good for cleaning out wounds. It's known, H2O2, as hydrogen what?
Peroxide.
Peroxide is right. You got it. Excellent. Yeah, do not be drinking this. That is not a treatment for COVID-19. For 15 points, and let's get physical. We all remember the cicadas. They were everywhere, and they left behind those shells on the tree after they emerged. Well, because that exoskeleton, that brown exoskeleton, permitted light to pass partially through, that exoskeleton wasn't transparent and it wasn't opaque. It was that word in the middle that let some light pass through. What is that T initialed word?
Translucent?
It is translucent. Excellent, excellent. For 25 points. Because the air in Asia's Gobi Desert is so dry, the snow that falls there in the winter never melts, but it does disappear. It goes directly from solid snow to water vapor in this S-initialed process. Same thing that happens to the frost on a car windshield. It doesn't melt. It goes directly from solid to gas. For 25 points, tough question. What is that?
Sublimation?
You got it right. It is indeed sublimation. Perfect answer. Good playing. All right, let's go to potpourri for 5 points. After eating all manner of food, the very hungry caterpillar of literary fame turned into one of these before becoming a butterfly.
Pupa, like a cocoon?
Yes, indeed. Pupa or cocoon, we would accept either answer. That is correct. Potpourri for 15 points. Sometimes this word, which can describe confusion in the human brain, is also used to describe a ground-level cloud that can be so thick you can't see your hand in front of you.
Fog?
Fog is correct, indeed. Let's show you a picture for 25 points in the potpourri category. It's a newly discovered dinosaur species. They call it the monkey dactyl. The monkey dactyl. It was so named because its bones revealed an opposable one of these digits that helped it to climb trees. A monkey dactyl, a newly discovered dinosaur species, was so named because since its bones revealed an opposable one of these digits, it was able to climb trees.
Opposable claws?
Say it again?
Claws?
Not gloves, no, thumbs. Had opposable thumbs like monkeys do, we do, that we can climb trees. Good try. Let's go to Dateline for 5 points. The extinction of the dinosaurs left behind just enough of these other reptiles that survive today on every continent except Antarctica, that are beloved by herpetologists, but universally feared ever since the Garden of Eden.
Snakes.
Snakes, that's right. You got it for 5 points. For 15 points, this is a multiple choice question. A new book called The Code Breakers, which is all about the DNA editing tool designed by a Nobel Prize winning scientist. Is the book's title CRISPR, Deleter, or Tracer? DNA editing tool. CRISPR, Deleter, or Tracer?
CRISPR?
CRISPR it is. Perfect. Last question of the game, 25 points. Let's get it. Astronaut John Glenn was among the 7 astronauts in this NASA program that, like the Gemini program and Apollo program, was named for a Greek god. In this case, a fleet-footed one.
Helios?
Not Helios, good try. Mercury. Mercury was the fleet-footed god, the name of the planet as well. Good game. Let's get your final tally. 240 points. Nicely done. Nicely done, Thomas Johnson. Well, it was a close game, as you just saw. It was going back and forth. We were tied at 155 at the halfway point. We had some players change out, and it was excellent playing throughout. And I know you were as impressed at home as we are here in the studio. Our final tally today is Thomas Johnson, 240 points. Robert Goddard, 265, so by a 25-point margin, just one 25-point question. Congratulations, Robert Goddard. We will see you in the next round. You will be playing Akakeek, and everybody give yourselves a round of applause because you all did so well here today. We see Ms. Duprez here, the coach over there from Robert Goddard, and is Ms. Yabes here with us? Hey, Ms. Yabes, you always send us great students here. Thank you for all your work. Thank you guys for doing this, and as you all said, you took a chance. You didn't know if you were going to like it. You hoped it was fun. We hope it was fun for you, and we hope all of you watching thought it was fun as well, and we hope to see you next time on another edition of Science Bowl. Until then, I'm Dave Zarin. Bye-bye, everybody.